Just before the video starts, in case you didn't know, I stream on Twitch. I stream a lot of Knockout City currently, so if you're into that kind of stuff, drop in, say hi, give me a follow and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, to the video. Staircasing. Only a very few people could do this self-pass. It was, in my opinion, the most stylish thing you could do in this game at the time. It was very difficult to master, and it was especially very difficult to use in matches and to get some nice looking KOs with it, which was a very rewarding experience at the time. There was just something so satisfying about using it once you put in the practice. Unfortunately though, it got patched at the end of Season 4, and obviously I got a little salty, I suppose. But anyway, today I'm going to tell you why I got salty, and also why I think it should get a buff, and also why it wasn't as OP as people thought it was. Okay, so around halfway through Season 4, I learned how to basically use, staircase and stuff like that. It took quite a bit of practice. I will tell you, my hands hurt. Like, they start to ache after I mastered it, I'll be honest. But either way, I eventually learned how to do it halfway through Season 4. So anyway, I was having fun using and stuff like that for quite a while, a good couple of about 2-3 months tops and stuff like that. And quickly over time, people started to notice me for being able to do that self-pass quite well actually, and stuff like that. And then eventually, as the season started to end, basically this clip started to float around.
Oh no!
Hi, Exen.
Throw me a ball. Throw me a ball. Throw me a ball.
Did you eat this? Are you living?
No, you bitch! Oh, I'm alive! I'm alive. Suck my balls.
So yeah, basically Yexon's clip basically got this self-pass patched by Season 5, unfortunately. And at the time when I was hearing like the devs and other people talking about this, I was quite upset. I was quite upset and I was quite salty. I spent like the rest of that season debating with everyone on Discord why I think it shouldn't be patched, or at the very least it should just like receive some sort of like harsh nerf. And at the time, the way I thought it was going to patch it, right, was you'll still be able to staircase, but you'll slowly fall to the ground as you're doing it. So basically think of it like you're floating for a bit until you kind of slowly go down to the ground. Unfortunately, I got the wrong idea, and by the time Season 5 came and I tested it out and I saw the people who could do it at the time, only a handful of people, they tried doing it. Unfortunately, you could only do one and then you automatically just fall to the ground. So it's like, you basically just fall straight to the ground, and it reduces your sprint speed quite a bit, so you can't even catch up to the ball and catch it again basically. So yeah, that kind of got me quite upset. So anyway, my suggestion for for this self-pass basically, right, if the devs are listening, my suggestion would be to, instead of just being able to just do one before falling, it would be nice to do maybe a couple. like maybe 3, 5, I don't know, even 2, 10 before you're able to fall down to the ground basically. So because I kind of do miss chaining them together. It was quite fun to do. It took a lot of work, but it was very rewarding, as I said before, to do it, you know what I'm saying? Especially to get KOs with it. My god, it was amazing. But yeah, basically, yeah, that was my suggestion. Unfortunately though, people didn't like that suggestion, that idea that I came up with on Discord, you know. In the feedback section, basically, yeah, I got a lot of downvotes, but I was really curious on to why I had so many downvotes. I really wanted to understand it, because there were even some people who there were some people who were disliking it, basically, who could do it themselves, and it just, I was really curious, what like, why do people hate it so much, you know? So I asked a few people and stuff like that, got into quite a bit of a debate, you know, and stuff like that, and yeah, I got a bunch of answers. Well, not a bunch, but you know, I got the answers I needed basically, which is basically why I'm making this video too, because from what I got from some people was that it was a very extremely like OP, like an overpowered self pass, you know, like it just somehow makes you invincible, when that's not necessarily the case. And yeah, basically I'm just gonna be debunking all of this stuff. So yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about what I like to call wall jumping, you know, climbing walls, buildings, and so on and so on and so on, the pros and cons to it, and why it's not as OP as people think it actually is, even though I can agree it kind of does look very, very powerful, but it actually really isn't. So anyway, how do I explain it? Okay, let me explain how it works, right? Or just staircasing in general, how it works. Basically, you jump. Well, you don't even have to jump, but obviously you're good to jump first. So you jump, basically. You fake lob. As you're fake lobbing, you throw. You know, you left click or whatever, use whatever button you use to throw, all at the same time. So fake lob and throw. And as after that fake lob animation, basically, your ball will automatically throw right after the animation. As that's happening, you want to quickly turn around and sprint for the ball all at the same time. Basically, that's the basics of it. And basically, at the time back in season 4, what would happen after you'd catch that ball is basically, I don't know what it was, but once you caught the ball, it just kind of like reset your stamina or something. But you was able to basically repeat that process over and over again, which will make you go higher and higher into the air. Now, the thing is, right, when you staircase on the ground, right, you start from the ground, and stuff like that, and so on and so on. The higher you get, the higher the ball will lob, and the further out it will lob. So basically, it will take longer for you to catch the ball. As it takes longer, basically, you start to fall a bit. But as you catch the ball, it kind of saves you, basically, if that makes sense. So it's like, as you get to a certain height, you can only stay that certain height while staircasing on the ground, basically, right? So you couldn't really go any higher. So basically, you can still fly, but you can like go to the sky from the ground. However, from, you know, what I was taught, again, think of it like wall jumping, if I already mentioned it. If you have a wall in front of you, basically, of any sort, or basically think of it like this, right? If there's any wall in front of you, or if like the closer you are to the ground, basically, the shorter and lower the ball lobs, basically. So I lost my train of thought, but yeah, basically that. So if you have two walls, right? So you're facing one wall, you jump to it, staircase, right? There's one, and what you do is you 180, basically, right? And you staircase to the other one, basically, right? And because that's that wall behind you that you're now facing is in front of you as you're staircasing, the ball detects it, and the ball won't lob so high. So basically just climbing the wall. It's hard to explain, but you know, you saw the clip. So That's basically how that works, more or less. It's probably a terrible explanation, but that's basically how it works. Now, the thing is, people can just, you can only go as high as the buildings or the wall you're climbing up, or the walls, more I should say, you're climbing up, or the buildings you're climbing up, or whatever you're climbing up, right? So, yeah, the pros and cons to this, right? So, number one, basically, you can only, most maps, right? You can only do it in specific spots, you know, and it usually is not in the most ideal spots to get KOs or technically AC 130 yourself or whatever, right? You can only do it in specific spots. Again, it's like wall jumping, and you have to have 2 walls to be able to do it, as far as I know. And these 2 walls, right, they have to be at specific distances for you to be able to do it basically, right? So they can't be too close, or they can't be too far away, basically, or you'll just fall down. Simply, that's it, pretty much, right? So there's that, you know. So, and usually the spots I'm talking about in any map, really, they're not very ideal. They're not very ideal for like getting KOs and to really AC 130 yourself off of from, you know, and stuff like that. It's just not very ideal to do any of that. Number 2, it takes forever to get to like AC 130 height. It takes quite a while. It takes at least 40 seconds, maybe a minute, who knows, but it takes quite a while to AC 130 yourself now. But yeah, anyway, number 3, basically, right, everybody knows that the servers aren't as good as they used to be, and even in season 4 people started to notice that. I got more lag spikes and so on, other people got more lag spikes and all that kind of stuff. And to be fair, even on high ping, basically, that kind of screwed me over when I tried to do the self pass a lot. So basically, right, what I'm trying to say is, if I'm lagging or I get a lag spike or something like that, basically it won't register a catch sometimes, or I'll end up teleporting a bit, and that will kind of screw me over, and then I go all the way back to the ground and I have to do it all over again, you know, stuff like that, which isn't fun. And again, you know, yeah, that kind of comes into play quite consistently, you know. Okay, so number 4, basically, right, people probably didn't know this, at least for the people who've never staircased or don't truly understand it. While you're basically wall jumping, you can only do 2 things: get higher and higher, or fall. You can't actually stay in the air using it in a sense of like, you can't really stay at the same height and just stay there like you're just chilling there. You can't stay there like that. You either have to, basically, right, as you're doing this, as you're wall jumping, basically, you need momentum, so you got to constantly keep stay away, right? Basically, you need the momentum, basically, is what I'm trying to say. You need to keep going. If you stop for any reason, stuff like that, you lose that momentum and you start to fall. The faster you fall, the harder it is to actually stay away, and you get to a certain speed quite quickly where you just can't do anything about it and you fall. And basically that's what happens. So that's why I was saying everything about, you know, if you lag out or miss a catch, or it just doesn't register a throw, or just if it doesn't do everything right and quickly, you basically lose that momentum and you fall. So people don't actually know that, so you can't necessarily abuse wall jumping in that way. Basically, you can't really, like, for example, I don't know, okay, for example, let's say you're in a match of face-off or team elimination, anything with, you know, a circle that closes, right? Any game mode with a circle that closes, right? I can't just now outlive everyone just by chilling in a specific spot on the map, right? You know what I'm saying? I can't just stay in the air while wall jumping, stay in this one specific spot in the air while wall jumping, basically, right, to outlive everyone. Number 1, the circle closes in all different types of places, right? So the thing is, right, most of the spots I'm talking about, the circle just does not close there. Like, I can't really think of any place or location where the circle actually closes in that specific spot. Now, let's say I'm wrong and there is, right? Okay, fine. Can't you just throw a ball to that dude that's like literally right above you, like that literally just AC 130 themselves into the sky? I'm sorry, but you can't do that, really? You know, on top of that, what are they gonna do? Like throw a Red Bull at you from like 300 feet above you, or tier 1 at you? Like really? It's not that OP in my opinion and stuff like that, you know? And this is why I think it will never be the meta, in my opinion. Actually, no, not even in my opinion. I know it would never be the meta if it never, even if it was still around till this day. It would just never would, because you got things like AC-130s and all that kind of stuff, right? Literally just get your teammates to throw you in the air. It's much quicker. It's just easier. It's just better, you know what I'm saying? And then you just get someone to pass you a nice, cool looking, clean tier 1. That's it. It's just simple. Why would everyone, right? Put it this way, right? So, I remember someone comparing it to traveling to a certain extent because of how OP they thought it was, right? They would not really necessarily compare it, but more like they used that as an example, traveling, right? And the difference between staircasing and traveling, right, is one was very extremely easy to do, right? And one was very difficult to do, and why only a handful of people could do it, and only a few people mastered it, right? And then even the ones who mastered it never really usually used it in matches like I did, you know what I'm saying? That's a different story. I infused it into my playstyle, which again was quite difficult to do, and yeah, basically. So yeah, the difference between traveling and blah blah blah, staircasing one's very easy to do. Even a person who's only been playing for 5 minutes can would be able to understand and know how to travel, and would be able to know how to use it in matches, you know what I'm saying? It's really not that hard to do, and I can prove it, right? In season 3, when Noggin made that video about traveling, obviously people, I assume, like the proper like pro players, right, back in season 3, those were the only players at the time who really knew about traveling. I assume no one else really knew about it until Noggin made the video, right, on traveling. So now eventually everybody knew about traveling. How quickly did that become the meta in the game? How quickly did you see that in every single match you played for the rest of season 3, right? Compared to me, when I started to staircase and people started to notice that, and to actually note, like people started to actually notice that self-pass's existence, right? And then plus I made that tutorial on it, and everyone started to talk about staircasing, right? After a while, other people started to do it, you know what I'm saying? And so on and so on. The thing is, only a handful of people knew how to do it after that. Even after the tutorial, like, it just helped out certain people who already kind of knew how to do it in general, but I just kind of helped them out. But no one really took the time to really sit down and learn it, and I would agree there are a lot of controller players out there, and stuff like that, and I do agree it's a lot harder to do on controller. However, it's very possible. I remember saying it's very possible if you have if you either claw or have paddles, and that's what Notice said to me, and I have to agree with that. I'm not a controller player, however, if I do play on controller, I usually double claw using a PS4 controller. So if I was to use my PS4 controller right now, I would literally be able to staircase with a controller because I double claw, or even if I was to use paddles and get used to them, I'd be able to do it and stuff like that. But it's very, for most players don't really claw or use paddles and stuff like that, so they wouldn't be able to do it fair enough and stuff like that. But yeah, some controller players could do it, very few controller players could do it, most couldn't. Most mouse and keyboard players can't do it, you know what I'm saying? Nor would, no one really put in the practice and stuff like that, and that's fine, of course, don't get me wrong, but yeah, like, just in general, most people couldn't do it, and it's a lot easier on mouse and keyboard to do, but still at the same time very hard to do. So for that reason, that's why no one was really actually doing it, especially in matches, and that's why it never became the meta. It was extremely difficult to pull off and do, right, and to master and everything like that, blah blah blah. But at the same time, it really served no real purpose. It never really gave anyone some sort of huge advantage. It never really benefited anyone, and that's why I enjoyed doing it, because it was such an unorthodox kind of like, I don't know if that's the right word, but like it was such a strange way of getting KOs and, you know, styling on someone. It felt good. It was very unique, you know what I'm saying? It was very different from all the other self passes, in my opinion, and all the other tech and stuff like that. It was just different. But I didn't feel like I had so much, like I didn't really feel like I had such an advantage over someone just because I could staircase on them. Like, I put it this way, I play, even with the laggy servers, and I'm playing on a very, you know, a laptop that can barely run the game. You know, you can't really run Knockout City that well, and I'm still beating people quite consistently in face-off. You know, I lose some, I win some, but I'm beating quite good players, you know what I'm saying, in face-off and stuff like that. Even like last season, like obviously I was beating them, but that's not the point. But basically, I'm still beating the same players I was quite consistently beating in last season, and it just goes to show I don't actually need to stairway on them to beat them. I never had to do that. It was just star points. I always did it for style. I'd always did it just to get a nice clip. That's about it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's quite difficult to get KOs using that. You know what I'm saying? It's quite difficult. You know, anything can go wrong. You're pressing all these inputs in all at once just to keep yourself in the air with the ball. You got to make sure you got to position yourself in a way so you don't actually accidentally lock on to your opponent, and so on. And let's not even talk about team KO and, you know, the other kind of team-based game modes. It was a lot harder to do in there. There was more people running around, you know. It was laggier in my opinion. Frames drops for me a bit, you know, even when I was on my PC and stuff like that, my old PC. The game ran quite smooth obviously, but sometimes I get frame drops, especially when I'm streaming, and yeah, you know, many things could just go wrong and stuff like that. You have more chance of accidentally locking onto people. You know, people are passing and things like that, so, you know, people are throwing at you a lot quicker. It was just a lot more difficult, you know what I'm saying? It's just no one used it like that because there was no point when you could just pass to your teammate. You can do all sorts of other things. That is the meta. That is the meta basically, right? I mean, you look at people playing League, you know, the proper pro players. You look at all the pro players playing in tournaments, right? Even back in the day, did you see anybody staircasing? Like, literally, that's my whole point. Did you see anybody staircasing? No, because what's the point? You're literally just selling yourself and your teammates if you do it. Now, if we go back to, let's say, being able to AC 130 or stuff like, let's say, yeah, right, that stair, my self pass, you know, the Stairway to 7 Heaven self pass never got patched. Now still able to wall jump and stuff like that, right? I'm playing League right now with some buddies, right? Now, instead of just quickly getting them just to AC me, right, up into the air, I'm going to now go far away from the battle, abandon my teammates, right? And I'm going to spend a good minute, right? And that's if I don't screw up, climbing up a certain building, a certain couple of walls, right, just to get to a certain height, just to AC 30 myself to a certain height, right? Basically AC 130 myself basically to a certain height, right? Glide all the way back to the battle, and that's if my teammates haven't just gotten wrecked or whatever, right? Yeah, just so I can like drop down on them and throw a Red Ball on them. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Like, who in their right mind, unless they are trolling, who in their right mind would do that if they really want to win? You know, like, I mean, usually I would only do that if I'm just joking and trolling around in street play, you know what I'm saying? Usually, you know what I'm saying? Or if I'm just trolling, you know, and most people have this, you know, are like me. Most people would do the same thing they would do. Like, if you could do it, you'll probably only do it if you're trolling or just messing around in the street. You wouldn't do it if you're serious and want to win. You'd just pass the ball, get someone to AC 130 yourself. You'd throw your teammate into the sky and pass them a ball quickly. It's just quick and easy. Like it's just why, you know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, basically, yeah, that's just, yeah, that okay. I think that's it. But yeah. Well, yeah, okay. So back to Yexun's clip, right? So he managed to climb back onto the map, and he basically survived death from falling off the map, basically, you know what I'm saying, you know? See, now, people see that and just think, oh my god, you'll be able to just climb back up onto the map from anywhere if you learn how to do it. And again, that's not necessarily the case, because it works exactly like wall jumping. Now, if you was listening to me, or I hope I at least mentioned this, again, blah blah blah, two walls, specific distances between each other, right? Yeah, to be able to do it, right? You gotta have a stable connection. Remember that, and blah blah blah. You have to be falling. You can't be falling too fast. If you fall for too long, you'll fall quick. You'll get to a point where you fall too fast to be able to actually do it. And the most important thing, you actually need a ball to do it. And most times you're falling off a map, you're usually being thrown off the map after you've been caged, or you accidentally board up into the wrong person. Like, you accidentally board up into your opponent's hands basically, and they throw you off the map. No one's gonna pass you a ball. And specifically in that clip, right, the Exxon asked for the ball, and he from his friends, right, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, right, and they threw him the ball. They're just taking the mick, you know what I'm saying? They're just having fun, they're joking around, they're not serious, they're not playing competitively like that, if that makes sense, right? That's why they throw in the ball. Usually when you're falling off the map, you don't have a ball, you know? And the thing is as well, as he was staircasing back, they were watching him staircase back to the map. It's not like they just sat there and they couldn't do anything about it. They could have easily, one of them could have walled up and quickly, as he was getting back up to the map, they could have just threw a ball at him. They could have threw a player ball at him. They could have had another ball right beside him, pass, and just literally threw a ball at him. He would have probably fell off the map. You know what I'm saying? Because he would have lost his momentum, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like how I mentioned before, where you can't just stop and just expect to stay there in the air. You're either wall jumping, wall jumping upwards, right, whatever, or you're falling. There's no like in between, as far as I know, from my experience at least, and stuff like that, and so on and so on. But yeah, there was many things they could have done if they really wanted the KO and the actual official. Yeah, if they wanted the official KO, if they want him to see him actually fall, right? There was many things they could have done. They're very good players. They could have done it if they wanted to, but they didn't. They watched him. They're just taking the mick. They're chilling, as far as I know. I don't know the whole backstory of that clip per se, but from what it looks like, they're chilling. You know what I'm saying? They're just having fun. That's all they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. And let me see, the other thing I would like to mention as well is that, again, you need two walls to be able to climb back onto a map. Basically, again, you need to wall jump. Most places, in most maps, right, in most locations, you won't be able to do that. There isn't like two walls at specific distances where you can just do that easily. So most places you wouldn't be able to climb back onto the map. Again, it's extremely difficult to do. Sometimes you can even accidentally lock onto a player if you do manage to do it. So let's say someone's watching you do it, you can accidentally lock onto an opponent, and again, you fall. And again, blah blah blah. Most times, you're falling without a ball in your hands. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's that and stuff. Anyway, again, I would love to say that again, basically, why, like, how do I put this? The self pass it will never be the meta. It just never will be. Like, it's just too much stuff to do just to get a tier 1 in your hands in the air. You know, it's just no point. And I have to add on as well that it's more of a move to do when you're more playing kind of like solo type kind of game mode. So it's good for like maybe face off, KO Chaos, and there's other type of like solo type kind of game modes. And the thing I'm starting to understand now, the thing I'm starting to understand now, at least that I started to understand recently, right, is that most people who play this game play Team KO, Team this, Team that. They're more team type kind of players. So in a way, to a certain extent, we kind of come from two different worlds when I'm arguing with people, or not necessarily arguing, more debating. Like, when we're debating, they're always thinking from like a team perspective, and I'm always just thinking from a solo perspective. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? We're different people to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? I tend to play a lot of face-off and things like that, free-for-alls and stuff. I love it. I love it more than Team KO. You know what I'm saying? I like, in my opinion, things like Team KO, Team this, Team that, it can be quite boring. Like, I wouldn't just usually go out my way just to solo queue Team KO. No, I don't usually kind of do that kind of stuff. Unless I'm playing with friends. I usually play with friends like Team KO, Team this. I usually just play with friends. That's quite fun. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's to me, it's different when you're playing solo than when you're playing with a team, and I think you shine more when you're playing things like face off and free for alls, and you're doing that self pass and stuff like that, and it's more effective in those kind of game modes. But it's quite useless, very useless, I might add, actually, when you're playing like things like Team KO and stuff like that, and you really need to pass to win the game, especially against good players. And the thing is, right, there was someone describing it in a way in Discord, like it gave you such an advantage. Like they just thought you'd be able to get, like, it gave you high ground to a certain extent, but that means nothing if you're facing especially really good players and what all you got is a tier 1 in your hand. That's it. Like that's it. You like you have, like, some people act like you end up with a tier 6 in your hand if you chain, like if you chain you know, the self pass enough times, and you don't. You always have a tier 1 in your hand. That's how it's always going to be. Or most likely, if you're going to throw, you're just going to end up having like a red ball in your hand to throw, you know what I mean? Things like that. And usually, I think I was the only one who actually ended up. Yeah, I think I was the only one that actually ever probably done this in the game. What I would do is I would like staircase a lot, right? And I'll turn it into slow balls. Like, is what I used to do back in the day, which I still do today. Is basically I lob self pass and turn it into a slow ball. And that's all you could really do to get KOs with that self pass. You could either just throw a red ball, slow ball, or whatever, right? Or just a tier 1 at someone. And the thing as well is that if you want to travel with that tier 1, right? You would have to go high enough into the air to even hold that tier 1, right? To hold its charge, right? But yeah, you have to basically glide in the air, right? But you would only glide so slowly, right? You have no speed while gliding, so by the time you fall to the ground, you've traveled no distance with just a tier 1. I mean, you might as well just literally do a lob self pass and hold the tier 1 in your hand while walking. I think that's it. It's about as fast as that, maybe a little slower than that, I'm not sure, but either way, it's not very useful when it comes down to if you're playing like things like Team KO and stuff again. You know, and again, it's very easy to get third partied while doing it. Like, why would you do it when you could just pass and everybody passes? Nobody thought, you know what, I really want to win this match. Instead of passing to my trustworthy teammate right in front of me, right, I'm going to staircase right here, right now, to win us the game. No, and they're really serious. They really want to win. Like, no one's doing that. I'm sorry, you know. I don't want to bring it up again, but no one's going to do that, and no one has done that in the past. They will do traveling though. Okay, no, they're really good and well-respected players and really like traveling. In fact, I didn't really like traveling at all. Actually, I hated traveling. I never did it. You know, unlike staircasing, right? Which, again, someone did try to compare to a certain extent, right? Unlike staircasing, right? Traveling, like, I didn't really feel any. I didn't feel anything once I got a KO. Once, you know, when I was traveling, you know, I think I traveled twice in season 3 just to test it out, right? And every time I got a KO doing it, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel good. I felt like I was almost cheating. You know what I'm saying? With staircasing, I feel good because it took a lot of time to actually master it, right? And then to actually like pull it off and get KOs and things like that and get some nice clips, it feels good. It felt good, and it felt like I was almost putting myself at a disadvantage, and I clutched it out and got the KO into a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? And I have to say as well, having a high ground on someone doesn't necessarily mean you won the fight. I don't care how high you are in the air, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, the best you can probably do is throw a tier 1 above someone. Like, that's the best you could probably do, you know? Or maybe helix them or something, but you can only do so much with the cell pass, you know what I'm saying? You're still quite limited with what you can do with it, you know? Like, and I would like to add as well, literally, if you see someone staircasing, which you've probably never seen in your life, you know, someone in a match, like literally in a match do it, right? Literally just throw a ball in their direction, just throw a ball at them, and they will be forced to stop, more or less, you know what I'm saying? Just throw a ball at them. There's a good chance they will get KO'd, or, you know, hit or something. Or they'll catch it, but you kind of stop them from staircasing. I mean, Like, no, you don't automatically or for some reason just become immune to dodgeballs, right? Or any sort of ball in the game, right? Because you staircase. Like, it doesn't make you invincible at all, you know? In fact, in most situations, you make yourself very vulnerable. And again, that's why it's better to use in more solo type game modes. And again, it doesn't give you that much of an advantage, you know? And before you know it, people would be like, you only won that match because you staircased. And I'm thinking like, I no, I like most of my KOs were just normal simple KOs or other tech I was just using like dribbling, slow balls, or just normal red ball. Or I was just waiting for you to flap or dash it. It's just as simple as that, you know what I'm saying? It's just like it like like I don't know, but I can still beat like a lot of players when it comes to like free throws and face off and things like that. And again, I don't have to staircase. I never had to staircase to win matches. Never, not once, not once. No one does. There's no need for it. It doesn't really benefit you in any sort of like. It doesn't really give you any sort of advantage. It just comes down to this. It's just star points. It's just a very stylish self pass. It is the coolest, in my opinion, the coolest thing for you to be able to do in the game, at the time and stuff like that. And basically, that's why I was salty when they removed it, because I never felt like it was that overpowered. Now, I don't know. If I could just, like, from the ground, staircase all the way up into the sky without any walls or anything like that, okay, that's a different story, and I could just stay there, yeah, that's okay. I get that, but there were so many rules and pros and cons to it that made it so that if you did pull it off, you had to be a pretty darn decent player, or at least a player who knew what they were doing to pull it off quite consistently in matches especially. And that's what people don't understand. When they see the clip, they just think it's just some easy thing to just do and and stuff. But either way, I know most people don't care about this kind of stuff and this topic, and I completely understand. No one really done it, you know what I'm saying? No one really got attached to it like I did. I was probably the only one who implemented it into their playstyle so strongly, you know what I'm saying? People till this day probably know me still just from flying in the game like that, like how I did, you know what I'm saying? No one really cares about it, right? And stuff like that, and I get it and stuff. But to me, that self-pass was everything. It was the most satisfying thing to do in the game. I know I keep saying this over and over again, but it really was, and I've never had as much fun as I did back when I was in Season 4 doing that, you know what I'm saying? And it's not like traveling, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, it just gave me an advantage and I'm salty, I can't win matches anymore because I can't staircase or something, you know what I'm saying? I still win my matches, I still win a lot of matches, I lose some, I win some, it doesn't really change anything. I can still KO people, it doesn't change anything. It's just, personally for me, I feel very limited for what I'm able to achieve in the game compared to what I used to be able to achieve, and that's the thing. And the thing is, I have a very unorthodox playstyle. I have a very unique playstyle to a certain extent. I would like to at least think that my playstyle is quite unique. I do certain things that mainly you shouldn't usually be doing, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's just my playstyle. Most people have a very simple playstyle, which again is fine, it's how you're supposed to play the game, and that's great, but I don't want to play like everybody else all the time. I want to be different. I want to think outside the box. I want to do something different. I want to I don't know, you know what I'm saying. I want to do something cool, stylish, to get KOs and things like that sometimes. That's what brings me a smile to my face. That's what brings a smile to my face. That's what keeps me playing the game, and stuff like that. But if I'm only forced to just get KOs in the same exact way every single time, I'm not having fun anymore. Because I've already done that for, around 1.5k hours. I've already done that. Like, I've done that for quite a while now, for a year, and it's just like, it's just boring, you know what I'm saying? It's just boring, I want to do some cool stuff. I think of it like trick shotting. you know what I'm saying, trick shotting. You know, it's not very beneficial to anyone, like if you're really trying to play competitively, but you get that nice special feeling when you hit a trick shot, you know. And it's the same for my yeah, it's the same for the staircasing. It just felt good to do. It felt different when you got that KO, man. It's no other feeling like that, you know. The only feeling that comes close to it is slow balling, in my opinion. But I think I'm rambling too much. But yeah, I'll get to the point now. So anyway, what I would suggest is, again, I probably said it early in the video, right? Is to basically, right, limit to how much you can chain in a row. So like maybe you can only do like 3 in a row, 5 or something like that, you know what I'm saying? So it's not enough necessarily to climb back onto the map, to the map usually and stuff like that. I can't really go high into the sky, wall jumping and so on, you know what I'm saying? But I'll still get the satisfaction from like chaining, you know, the self pass and stuff like that together and stuff like that. But it doesn't feel too broken, at least into, you know, in other people's eyes and stuff like that, and so on and so on and so on. You know what I'm saying? However, I don't know if that's even possible to implement into the game, or if the devs will even be bothered, or if they think that's a good idea or not. I doubt they will actually do it. You know, I could just be wasting my time completely here, but it's worth a shot. I'm fighting for what I believe in, you know, personally speaking, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not holding, like, I'm salty still, obviously, but I'm not, like, holding, like, any, like, serious grudges against people. Yeah, at the end of the day, this is just a video game. It is just a dodgeball video game. It's just a cartoon dodgeball video game. Like, you know, I'm not like that serious but about this whole thing, but I am very passionate about it, if that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? So I guess that's why I'm making this video. However, it would be nice to see that self pass come back to the game, but at the very least, instead of it getting like I just wish it didn't get nerfed as hard as it did, you know what I'm saying? I just wish I was able to just to fly for a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Enough so again I can have my fun, and anyone else who could do it back last season can still have their fun, but not enough so that it could break the game in a certain way, you know what I'm saying? And again, I don't know if it's even possible to implement that, and again, it's probably a waste of time in their eyes, you know, the dev's eyes and stuff like that. I get it, but yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts and my opinions and so on and so on. And everything I said in this video could be completely 100% wrong. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But as far as I know, with my limited knowledge of this game, at least if you compare it to the devs and stuff like that, I'm just going from what I know, basically. So yeah. Anyway, I think I am done with this video. There's probably a couple more things I wanted to say. Not about the self-pass. I've probably been rambling for about an hour, but I'm going to probably start uploading more Knockout City content soon and stuff like that. When Rumbleverse releases as well, I'm definitely, and when my PC gets fixed and stuff, blah blah blah, I'm definitely going to be uploading a lot of Rumbleverse content as well, so be ready for that. But yeah, I think I am done. If you listen to me for about an hour just rambling, I'm sorry. Go and do something else actually constructive. But then I'm joking. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. Appreciate it. But yeah, more Knockout City coming soon. I'm gonna draw my own custom thumbnails and stuff. It's gonna be cool, hopefully, probably. But yeah. I'm gonna get on to drawing this thumbnail for this video. But yeah, peace out.
Beats.